Hello, welcome. My name is Manuel from Kata Studios. Today, I'm going to teach you how a website alignment, color, typography, and responsiveness should actually work by reviewing 5 amazing websites from our amazing students. And by the way, we will also be reviewing a wonderful website presentation. This will give you a guide on things to do or don't do whenever you are preparing a custom mockup for your website presentation. Let's get into it. Today's video is brought to you by Breakdance, the modern visual website builder for WordPress. It's easy for beginners to learn and powerful enough for the most advanced professionals. Breakdance is loaded with lots of features, including a premium pre-made template library, a robust form builder, AI content writing capability, a versatile pop-up builder, and a seamless WooCommerce integration. Whether you're just starting up your WordPress journey or you are seasoned pro looking for a better builder for your agency, now is the perfect time to build a better website with Breakdance. Try it today and experience the Breakdance difference. So we'll be starting up with SoFine, and this is an e-commerce website, and we're going to be focusing on the homepage. So judging from the hero section, everything looks perfectly fine. When you hover on this, everything is fine. I really don't like the color of the home here. Doesn't make much sense. I think you could make the color a little bit darker so it's more visible. You get accessibility is very important. There are people who have bad eyesight. They might not see that very clearly. So possibly make it the color of this hover. I wonder why you're using 3 colors in one element. So just use 2 colors in one element. This could be the same color when you hover on this element applied to this. Everything works fine from here, and I have not added a product here to see how that looks like. So let's just add a singular product. Perfect. So this looks very fine, especially, okay, this works very fine for me. I would like when you hover on the checkout, it should also be the color of this when it is not hovered. So the hover of this should be an orange color as well. So it's easier for definition. That is for the header. We get to the hero section. Everything here works very perfectly fine. I like the fact the transition here is very subtle and not very harsh. Scrolling down, we get to the product section. Product section works fine for me. I like the text size because if there are multiple more content for the text, you can use a text size that actually work well. Reduce sizes and make sure it's actually fitting and align perfectly well for other text that are longer than it. Okay, the button here is too large. I think it should be reduced a little by 2 pixels all around. That will make more sense. Scrolling down to this section, I think this works well, but this will make more sense if this is a full width section. So this should be 100% VH. So it should cover my website screen, my desktop screen from top to bottom part. It shouldn't have this white space to bring out more glory from this particular content. It will make more sense that way. But apart from that, everything works fine here. What I would suggest also, there is a video playing around in this background to make more sense than a static image from over there. About us. Now let's scroll up. We get to this section where we have a size. Now I notice we have a specific size here, and I notice we have another text content here over here. So I think you have to deal with that. There is something I'm finding here. I think that's a text. I can even copy it. As you can see, can copy the text from here. So what you're going to do for us is remove that element or include it. But another thing I notice is that the text size you are using for your heading text, this is the second heading text, which should be the H2 heading text. This should be the H1 heading text. This should be the H2 heading text, and every other text beneath it should be H3. This should be H3. This should be H2. Now, what I'm saying is that the size of about us should be equal with the size of the recent product, because they are of the same category of title. Okay, so make the size the same. This should be H2 like I said, but this one should be H3. Okay, so scrolling down, the same applies to this. The same text size you use for this and the other one should apply to that one. The same works here. It works fine here. I think it's the same size you use. So let's proceed with our review. This section looks nice. This button, I don't really like the fact that it is going to the top side. So the button should squish. You should actually expand this element. Maybe guide all of this content with a singular div and let this be on a singular div. Select the div guiding everything and make sure you stretch it out. Let this content be at the top and this content will be at the bottom. The same thing applies to this part. By so doing, we have the buttons at the bottom part and this button at the bottom part too. Everything works fine from here. Review section, everything fine. General FAQ, everything fine. Okay, category section, everything works very fine. For category section, I think this leads us to those categories and it makes more sense. Having a visual representation of that category makes more sense. Scrolling down here, we have this section. I like this section, even though it's just 3 lines, but I will suggest we make these 2 lines. Okay, so stretch this out and make sure the product collapses and joins the super line. Perfectly fine. I think this was what you're trying to do in this section, and we are actually missing it. So fix that. Make sure you fix that. Okay, I noticed it. You may not notice it, other people may not notice it, but I know when I see an error. So scrolling down, I love this wide image from here. Very beautiful. I like the fact it's also collapsed to this particular width, which is 1300 pixels. That makes more sense. And then we get to the footer. But the footer, I want, when I hover on this, it should be the color of this. Okay, when you hover on the footer, you should change a color. Not changing a color, but being a link makes it not easy for people to know it's a footer. It may be assumed that it's still a text like these other ones are. Anything that is a link, there must be an after hover effect that will show that that is actually a link, just as we have from here. I love the effect that rotates, zoom out and rotate also. It's very playful and it makes more sense. So that is it for So Fine. Make those corrections and you can proceed to submit again. Now we'll go to the next one, which is High Creative Solution. Okay, and by the way, before I proceed with this, I want to show you something very quickly. I want to show you a very pro tip. If, for instance, you as a designer want to show a client a particular section you are talking about and you don't know how to copy that link for that particular section, instead of screenshotting it, all you need to do is to hover and select on a particular text, whether it's a 1 text or 2 text or 3 text or all text from there. Click option and click on copy link highlight. This is an option just like as we have anchor link or hash link on Oxygen, anchor link for I think Elementor. So what this does is when you go to a new browser or when you send the link to the client, when the client sends the link, it directs them directly to that particular page. You see what happens? Direct them to that particular page with that particular link highlighted. You get the point. So why I'm showing this very quickly is for persons who may need to highlight a particular section and send over to someone to actually review specifically that section. So let's proceed with this review. The header is a no for me. Okay, now let me point out something very clearly that you should take note of before I come to the other parts. Let me scroll and see. You see this section is almost 90% width, or if I must say, this could be around 1450 pixels or 1500 pixels. Now look at what you should do or always do. Make sure your header is the widest section in your website. So your header should be the widest in the sense that it should be the section that is wider than every other element, except elements that are full width, 100% VW. Okay, those contents are content like images, like we see in So Fine, like this particular hero section that goes from here to here. It doesn't have any condition with the header. As you see this So Fine header, you see there is no section here that is wider than So Fine header. All of the sections are equal to it, coming down to the footer. Okay, coming down to the footer, it must be the same thing. The header section must be the widest in your website. So you have to fix that. Make sure the header is the widest. If the header is this size, then all sections must have to respect that particular size. That's number one. Number two, I notice your header is left aligned. We have this section and the space we have from here to the edge here is lesser than the space we have from here to this area. You notice that? So make that fixed. And also the color we are having on an element here is the default WordPress color. We don't want that. We want this to be your brand color. So switch this color to your brand color. So when somebody hovers on element, it should also show your brand color from here. And also, since we are having a little bit of I think this should be a little bit of milk white. I think that milk white should also be applied on the hover element. All of this should also be milk white, and the text color should reconcile with also the text sizes and colors we have from above here. Okay, and this particular element shouldn't collapse from this top. You should reduce it so I can start from the bottom part of that particular section, not colliding with the section. No, doesn't make sense. Okay, then when I hover on this, I want to see the brand color, which is this color that we have from over here. I want to feel that color. The same applies to this. When we are in particular page, you should also highlight that color. Your call to action button looks nice. I like the fact it's very sleek, but you don't use a primary color for call to actions in your header. Your header call to action shouldn't be primary color. As you can see from here, the header call to action is a stroke. It's a secondary button. Then we have the primary button from here, so you don't get people confused. Okay, book a free call, see previous project and get started. what exactly are this information? It gets started leading us to see a project or to book a free call. So you should be clear with your call to action so people don't get confused. If this is see a project you are using as a call to action for people to actually get to see the project and then proceed to book a service, then make it very clear here. If this is to book a service, make it also very clear here, and make sure you don't use more than 2 buttons in your website. First button should be a primary button with a color, and the second button should be the secondary button without a color. You shouldn't even have a color in between. But if you must have a secondary color, a secondary button, then you should have a tertiary button, which shouldn't have a color. It should be a stroke button, not a field button. A field button is a button that have color inside of it. A stroke button is example like this one, usually used for a secondary or tertiary buttons. Okay. So we are done with that header. Make those fixes and then you can submit back to the group. The next of the content is that I am not even seeing this. This is not readable. All of these are not readable. So your style that you apply to this particular header, which is the thicker version, shouldn't apply to this element. So if this is a section you apply this with, it is wrong. This particular effect should be applied only to the texts, not to the section. If you apply it to the section, it will affect all elements inside of it. So apply it to only the text, the gradient left and gradient right, and the white gradient in the middle. Okay, don't apply it all over. If you apply all over, you have this issue from here, and you may think, okay, I can fix this issue by reducing the size of this text. Yes, you can do so, but on smaller breakpoint like mobile, you still have the same issue happening. So do this only to this particular part. If you can't do it, the next thing you can do is to select on this text element or div guiding this element and make the z index higher than the z index which this particular overlay of this color is having. Okay, and apart from that, I think every other thing looks fine, except for the fact that when we go mobile on this particular transition, we are going to have a very big issue. You see, we are going to have a very big issue when you make your responsiveness. Let me show you something very quickly. Let me show you where we are going to have a big issue. This is not, you have not done the responsiveness, I believe, but when you finish the responsiveness, you understand the problem I'm talking about. Your website will be jumping up and jumping down because the text here is longer, will always be longer than that particular width of that section. Now look at what we did in Bobby's Media. You see how sleek it is from here. When we go to the mobile, it is still responsive. You see the point? It's still responsive because of what? Because the content there is not more than 3 words. None of the content is more than, even when I wanted to write management, I have to make it short. The content is not more than 3 words. Once it becomes more than 3 words, it will be jumping. Imagine the next steps will go to the beneath, and when somebody is scrolling, the website will jump and jump down again, jump up and jump down again. So you have to actually work on your copy for your hero section. Your copy don't look very great for me. Kickstart your business, growth faster than ever. Just go straight to the point. I don't even think all these are necessary. All these are not necessary. You can actually create another section where you can drop in those particular contents and explain them. Just get straight to the point here and tell the client what exactly you want them to do. No need of all of this information. And why we used it in Bobby's Media website is because we actually are trying to portray different services they offer. But here you are not trying to portray different services you offer. You're actually trying to talk about exactly the results the clients are going to be getting and with what tools you're going to do that with. So it's not necessarily having this. Just find a copyright that makes more sense, and that a copyright that governs everything that you're doing, and assemble that copyright for this your content to make more sense. For the body text, I don't like the fact that the body text is stroking from beginning to here, and then we have almost a window text here, if not that they are just 4 content here. I don't think Bobby's Media have such issue. Let's go here. You see how this one is reduced? You see, by the way, this is the text space is too short. The text height space is too short. Expand it. I'm talking to so fine designer. Okay, but see the width of this text. You see, it shouldn't be wider than the heading text. No, for no reason should your footer body text be wider than your heading text. Okay, but this one we see is almost going wider or competing with that particular one, which is not necessary. So we break this into 2 lines, I think, and the marketing can join this particular unlock your business potential. Make more sense. Your buttons are too small. Increase the size just a little. You see the width and thickness of this one makes more sense. Let it be a little bit bolder. If it's too small, it is difficult for people to actually hover and click on. And the effect on your button, the stroke around your button, I don't really like it. You remove those strokes. You don't add strokes when it's not necessary. When you add stroke, is when the color which is the field color, is actually the same with the color of the background. So you add stroke to differentiate that from the background. But this case, the background is black and the color on hover is white. So there is no need to do that differentiation, okay? The same thing happened to this one. When you hover, I want the color to become the orange color and then the text color can become white. Okay, coming down here, everything here looks fine. I like the effect from here. This particular part, I would like it to be full width from beginning till the end, just as we have in Bobby's Media. You see, from beginning part of the website to the end part of the website. Okay, from beginning to the end part of the website. I think there is a little issue with this particular one. Let's refresh and see that particular section again. Perfect. So there was an issue. It didn't load fine. So from beginning to end, and there should be a space in between all of the contents from the beginning of the website to the end of the website. So just starting from here, ending here doesn't make sense. Number one. Number two, if you are using white, there should be a padding top and padding bottom. Okay, enough padding top and padding bottom, just as we have from here. Give enough space for those particular product brand logos. Don't just squish them like this. It doesn't make much sense. From beginning to the end, then give enough space. Okay. This part, I love the fact you highlighted this with highlight text color, and we have a call to action. This is a little more converting because this is a good and wonderful social proof. And this particular part, I still don't really feel good about the effects here. The effect here doesn't look fine because the text are small. When it's smaller text, this effect is abruptly uncanny. It doesn't make sense. Okay, it doesn't make sense at all. So I think you should remove this effect from here unless the text is very, very bold. And this content here should be center aligned. I don't know why you left aligned this content. This content is starting from here and your content is ending. What is this full space doing? And we have this button at the center. Okay, so just make sure this content and this content are both centered in between these particular elements at the top. Then the call to action button, I don't like the stroke color. It's not good for my eyes. So what you're going to do is when you hover on it, you should change to the white color, which is your primary color from here. Okay, so after that we get to the next section. The same thing applies. You know what I talked about the gradients from there. This section looks very nice. Remove these gradients. It's not necessary from here. Okay, remove these gradients, remove this gradient, remove this gradient. Just keep the text readable. Okay, we have played with that section. You shouldn't use too many aesthetics in your website. Just a few places people will know. Little details is what people need to know. They don't need to know the detail all over your website. No, just little detail, one or two places will make more sense for your users. Okay, scrolling down, we have this section. I think this is a video section. It looks very nice and great to me. I love it. I love it so much. I love this section also very much. Now in these sections, we are noticing that we are having some kind of differentiation in your sections. You see, look this area very well. You see, we're having a little bit issue from here. You see, so you're going to fix that. I don't like the fact that this differentiation didn't actually apply to all of the section area. Only apply to the left and the right. Doesn't make much sense. So make sure the whole section here is the same color. The whole section from here could be the black color. Makes more sense. The effect I talked about, also remove it from here. The body text here should reduce the color intensity. It shouldn't be the same white color with this white color. So this should be a little bit of gray, just as we used from this area. This color makes more sense. Okay, for all your body text should have a little lighter color than the main heading text, so they won't compete. That's good hierarchy. This part makes more sense. The same applies to the body text. Reduce the color intensity a little more. And the padding top is too much, and we don't even have a padding bottom at all. So make sure this starts from here, and there is enough space from the image beneath. Enough space from the image beneath. There is too much space at the top. Doesn't make much sense. Okay, make those changes, and this section is great already. Same applies to this part. I think you can even break this into two. Read to transform your, then business, let's talk, will go to the bottom part. Break your content. And this one, aligning left, still the same thing. Push it to the center also. And the button, you know what to do from there. And I can't even tell which section is this. Okay, I don't like the fact that this black section we go in and then we don't have a differentiation from the next section. I don't even know when I'm adding to the next section and I'm having this wide space here. It doesn't make sense. Look at how we did it in Bobby's Media. So we get this section and we separated it with something. But even if we get to a section that is the same black color, like for instance this section, you see, we separate it with a little lighter gray, dark gray color to separate it. Imagine we are having this whole space left here. Someone wouldn't even know when we are getting to the next section. The same applies to this. You see the section? The same applies to this. Even though we have in the same section, this is just hovering on the next section, we separate this from the next section. So there should be a distinct difference from a section. When you get to a section, there should be a light difference, even if it's a line you put in there, or even if it's a color separation, that will make more sense. Okay, this part makes sense too, though I'm going to talk about this in the future review. Let me not waste much time in that. I like this part also. Make this readable. Make this readable. Make this readable. The stroke around this, I don't like it. The over stroke, yeah, the color should be your brand color. I don't know where this pink color came from. You should be careful about the colors you use in your website. Don't use more than 2 to 3 colors in your website so you don't confuse users from understanding exactly the message you're trying to pass with the color. The space between the element is too much. The width here should be not more than 20 pixels. Okay, left and right, 20 pixels left and right. And the stroke here, even without hover, the stroke is too much. Reduce the stroke color. Reduce the stroke color very well. Look at the stroke we use here. You see, you can't even notice the stroke, but you still know there is a stroke. You won't notice the stroke, but you still know there is a stroke. Just like we have here. You won't notice the stroke, but you will still know there is a stroke. You won't notice the stroke, but you still know there is a stroke. So make that effect applicable to this part also. I love this section. Also fix this particular area. The color should be white and the text color should be black. And the footer, the buttons for the social media should usually be to the bottom left, not to the top. We should have the contact detail and the sitemap before we can start having the button to the social media. Okay, so move this. The logo can be here. It's okay. Remember the rule. The heading should be the widest and the footer also should be the same size with the heading. Okay, if the heading is the widest, the footer should be the same size with the heading. And coming to this part, contact us. The contact us information should start from the left side. It should actually match with the contact us, not having this space as we have from here, just as we have from here, And this particular text beneath here should reduce in opacity so people won't think it is a link also. I know it's a link there, but reduce the opacity very, very well. And that is it for your review. And I think that works perfectly well. Make the corrections and you can submit back to the group. Okay. Now the next project is the Zoe Life Care. Zoe Life Care is, I think, is a partnership for home care nursing agency. So this is an agency that provides home care for persons who need home care, I think. The color here is fine. I like it, but I don't like the fact that I don't have an effect when I hover on this. I need to click on this first before it pulls out. I think hovering on it will make more sense instead of clicking on it. Okay. The text section here, the hero section, I don't really feel it. Okay. I think this should be full width. It will make sense. Full width hero section, 100% full width will make sense, just as we have from here. It will make more sense. So users can enjoy the effects from the start. This section makes sense also. I like this section. There should be an effect when you hover on this also. This section is okay for me too. Section works well for me too, except for the fact that, okay, no exception, because the text size for the hero section is equal to the text size we have from the other parts. And that is it for all we have for this particular website. Every other thing works fine, perfectly fine for this section, except the corrections you need to make from there. When you hover on this, it should be the effect on hover, not on click. I think there's a second version to this. The client should choose one. We will be coming to that, and that's the fourth one. So this is fixpower.ng, a client website, and from joining from the hero section, we are already having a slight issue. Okay, one of the issues is that this particular content, all of the content here should be middle aligned. Everything should be in the middle, not at the top. It should be in the middle. Okay, should be in the middle area, and the logo is too wide. I don't think that is necessary. So we should actually reduce the size of the logo so that the size of the hero section should reduce a little more. And this works well, except for the content here is too much. That's why we are having that. So how many colors do you have in this website? We have blue and we have yellow. We have orange and we have dark blue. What's going on here? This is I think this is a royal blue, and we have navy blue here, and we still having another color here which is almost like a milk white. So actually define how many color you want to use, not more than 3 colors in a website. I think this orange color and this dark blue works perfectly well for this. Remove every other color. Like I can't even see what this home is about, because if you're having a site issue, this is not accessible, it's not readable. Okay, make that changes. Middle align this content, increase the text size, and break this content into 3 lines. It will make sense. Okay, Then scrolling down, we have this section. And to start up with, your font is ugly. Your font is very ugly. The font you use for this thing is Poppins. And you're using a different font for this. Use Poppins for all your fonts. Since the logo itself is Poppins. Okay? Your font here is very ugly. It's very, very ugly. It's very, very ugly. The same thing applies to this. The font here is very ugly. So use Poppins as you are startup in beginner in this career. Use simpler font. Don't try to use complex fonts, or don't just drop a font and start styling it, just styling it. No, make sure you choose a font, specific font for your brand based on their logo or their style. Don't just pick any kind of font. Change this font to Poppins, and this text here, I don't know what you are doing here. The text is too much. Reduce this text at least, then break it into 2 lines, and the 2 lines should just start from here and end somewhere here, and then we have another line from here to here. Okay, reduce this thing. Have to work on your copyright. Don't just dump anything the client sent to you. Modify the copyright and then put the rest of the content to this part. That is where it can work perfectly well. This particular area, the button should be left aligned to this area. Same applies to this. This one, the text here should be broken into 3 lines, not 2 lines. The paragraph here should be 3 lines, not 2 lines. And the same text here should be broken into 3 lines, and so that it can actually collapse a little more and not be wider than the heading text. Watch other review I made for other students, so you can also understand the mistakes you are making. Not everything I'm going to talk about here. Some of them you're going to learn from others. This part is nice. You can break this into 2 lines also. This part is nice. Okay, this section should be just 1 line. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not 1, 2, 3, and 4. What's this big space doing here? Just 1 line, as if it is just this section. Okay, as if it is just this section. Just make it 1 full line. Okay, coming down to this section is okay. Book a section, and then this is about us. I don't like this circle. Just make it a square. Since you are going with a square images for all of your content, make all your content square. It will make more sense. This is good. Okay, he have all this social media handle. That's cool. So the fact section is very ugly. Very, very ugly. Very, very ugly. Let me show you an example of a fact you can use from here. I think this fact looks a little bit nicer and subtle. See how clean it is? Not too heavy on the eyes. And there is a more space to the content itself. But your own, there is no space. Just collapse everything. That's number 1. Number 2, the color around everything is too bright. Look at the color we use here. Very subtle. Okay, reduce the color very well. And when you click on this, the text here should also start where this text starts. Just as we have from here. The text here starts from where this heading text starts. Okay, make those changes to that section. This particular area, I don't like it. It's very ugly. Very, very ugly. Work on this section. I don't even know what to review from here, because the image here is supposed to be a little larger. You move all of this content. This image should be very, very large. Move all of this content, both the buttons and all of these things. Move them to the bottom part of this part. Okay, and make sure things here are center aligned. I don't like the fact we are using a get in touch, then we are having a background to that text. It's useless. Just remove that background. It's not necessary. Can break this one into 2 lines and it will make more sense. The stroke around here, reduce the opacity. The stroke around here, reduce the opacity very, very well. Read article. The read article here should start at the top left, not at the side of this thing. Top left. And the color here should match with the brand color you are using. The brand color. And this read article should be 1, 2, 3. It shouldn't be vertical. It should be horizontally aligned. And all of the content should be beneath it to make more sense that way. This area is not organized at all. It's not organized at all. Not organized. The width of this particular section should be smaller, so that even you push everything to the left, whereas there's more space here. So make sure things are centered here. This element, let's fix your solar panels. Make it start from this particular area. Okay, let's start from area. Then this button should move to the left side of this section, and we have everything here is okay. Make those changes and then submit back to the group. Next one is the same for this Zoe. I think this is the second version of the website, and we are going to be very, very quick with this one. Here you made a little more changes, but I don't even see. When I hover on this, I can't even see the text. Fix that. Join us now. Looks nice. This section, the stroke around this doesn't make sense. You should reduce the opacity. Your lab partner, blah, 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 blah. Why are we having a widow text here? Make sure you increase the size of the text and break this line from this second one. This one will join the agency beneath here. This your text here should be not less than 20 pixels of size, and then increase the size. It should be 20 pixels, then break it into 2 lines. Okay, get started and watch video. This button here is too distracting. I don't even think this is necessary. It should be get started here or see our services. Okay, no, watch video. Watch video for what? It's not necessary. See our services will make more sense. Then this section should be full width, 100% full width. It makes more sense, like this particular section also. Scrolling down here very quickly, why choose Zoe Life Care? Everything here works fine. I like this section, very brief and simple and straight to the point. The text color here is too, I don't even understand what you're doing exactly here. The text color here is very light. It should be a little bit thick so people can understand what is going on. Okay, you can even put it on beneath this particular content and change the font to Poppins. The font here you are still using here is ugly, very, very ugly. Okay, also this particular part, the text side is the color of the text side you're using is it's like almost matching with the background, and it's not readable at all. Make it a little bit darker gray to make more sense that way. Change your font here, very ugly font. This part makes sense. I like these sections. Apply the same settings to this rest of them. Okay, apply the same setting. Your effect on hover is too slow. Okay, make it a little bit faster. It's too slow. Change this ugly font, and then this particular part makes sense, but I wonder your content font is not consistent. Your typography is not consistent at all. It's not consistent. I'm assuming this is the size of your H3 text, but this is also the text H3 text. Why is it having a different size? That's number one. Number two is that your text, body text here are too tiny. I can't even read it. I wonder how this will look on mobile. Very, very tiny. You can expand this and make sure they have enough space for them to breathe, and increase the sizes of this text so it can be readable. Okay. The testimonial section is too wide. Why are you using this width here? And you come to this section which have the same 3 contents and you're using a wider width. For what purpose? For what purpose exactly? Use a specific width for all the sections in your website. If you're using 1350 pixels, make sure that revolves in every section except exceptional sections like this, which will always be wider than every other section. Choose a specific width for your website. If it is 80%, if you're using percentage, 80%, make sure 80% applies to all websites you're building. Okay, don't confuse people. Please don't do that. Make sure you fix this body text also before you submit again after your final correction. This section is okay. For the best practice, this space that you are giving for this particular div is too much. Make sure the div collapses with this particular section from here. The schedule a free call is nice. The section, the area is very nice. It's very okay. And all of the text from here, the color should be increased a little. The color should be increased a little. The color size should be increased a little. The color we have in here is too light. I can't even see them very clearly. Okay, when I hover on this, I want them to be orange color. There should be a little more contrast from the bottom part. Even all this heading text can be orange color all through. All of this should be orange color, and when you hover on any of these, it should be orange color also. Okay, I think that's the review. Make the corrections and then submit back to the group. I think that's it for our revision today. Let's get down to the business of the day. So here is the presentation. This is the final area of your work. Whenever you finish a project, you need to present it to the public. You need to make a post on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on other social media, so people can actually see what you do where it is easy. And why we teach this in our platform, and by the way, if you are not a part of this platform, the Practical and Publish platform is our free web design tutorial class. So you can join it from anywhere around the world. It's for free. Submit your project for revision in this platform, and also submit your mockups or content for revisions. Okay. Here also we do practicals and give weekly activities for persons who are interested to actually participate and practice with us while we make revisions for those. Those are, by the way, custom section projects that we'll be publishing or submitting for users or our members to actually practice with. By the way, we also have a course on web design, specific course, which is already launching. If you are interested, you can see the link in the description below to actually contact us for us to actually explain better for you. Okay. But for now, you can join our free course. You must not be on our paid course to actually learn with us. You can learn with us from our free course. And what you see there, if it impresses you, you will now decide whether you want to join our paid course or not. So fine and perfect. You see these sections, we have very beautiful content from here. This is done by Fabulous Web Design, Fabulous Designs. Okay. And he did very wonderful work in his presentation here, though I actually processed this from the beginning, and I know we actually needed to make some brief corrections to these ones as quick as we can. Okay, let's see if we can copy this and paste in Photoshop. Let's see if we can do that from here. Okay, we can paste this. I want to make a very quick corrections very quickly. So I'm going to create a section from here. Let's make this resolution 300. And we create. So let's paste this here. So I'm going to very quick. You see, the text we are using from here, designed by Fabulous Studios, and we still have this one. We don't have more than one call to action in your mockup. You shouldn't even have more than one. It's not necessary. Just one. And in most mockup that can accommodate it, don't even add it. That's what I want to talk about here. So let me show you what font we are going to be using here. Okay, let's say designed by Fabulous. Okay, and we select all. Okay, this should be capital letter. Perfect. Select all. We are going to reduce the size very well. Let's just make this 12. Perfect. We can now further reduce it to whatever we want. The thickness of this particular font is too much. So this is where we need to actually select on the text and click on this, and we're going to select the regular version. I think that will make more sense. No, regular version is too thin. Let's select the medium version. Medium version works well. Then we need to spread out this. The space between the element is too small, so we need to spread it out a little. Okay, it's too much. It's too much. Spread it out. Perfect. I think this works well. Okay, depending on what you're using, it must not be 30 here. Just make sure it's fair enough. Then we reduce the font a little more like this. Then here is where we start working. So this one we have above here, we will be removing it. We don't need it anymore. Okay, let's increase the thickness a little more. Let's select bold. Perfect. I like that. So we select this particular one at the top. To remove it, let's just use an eraser to remove that very quickly. Let's erase it like this, and we don't have it there anymore. Then we take this one at the top side. Make sure it is aligning with this element here. And if you want to put it by the side like this, okay, you make sure it is aligning with this particular content here. You see the difference? You see the difference? So those are things you should consider whenever you actually making corrections, making your logo content. This one over here, we don't even need this. Just erase this one from here, and we are good to go. So we have this here, but we are not done. We have to reduce the color opacity. You can do that from this area by the opacity of the Photoshop. Just reduce the opacity, reduce it, because we don't want it to be distractive to users. We want users to actually enjoy our content and still know who designed this. So you can increase it to like 30% or 37%. Something like this is fair enough. Just one place is okay. I think 30% is okay. Perfect. So this can revolve around. Imagine when somebody visits, it's very fair for them to enjoy the content, but when they look closely, they will now see who designed it. So this font name is called Create to Display. I'll be providing the link to download that in the description below, or we'll be providing that in our group so users can also download. So join our group, you'll be getting this font as quick as you can, or request for it if I don't remember to do that. So this is all you need to do for all of the mockups you have created. All of the mockup you have made, make sure you apply this to them. As you can see, we don't like this. Make it a little bit closer to your content, or if it is to the left, make it a little bit closer to your content also from here. Okay, that's number one. Number two is fair enough. You can add it to the top side here to make sense. But like I said earlier, it's not every section. If you have 16 mockups, make sure your mockup, your watermark applies to only 6 to 7 of them, or 8 or 10. Don't apply it to all of your mockup. There are mockups that don't even need that element at all. I'm going to show you an example of that. So this one, you can apply to this. This one, you don't even need to apply it. You don't need to apply it here. Don't apply it at all. We already have a content beneath here. Don't even need to apply. Just put the website name and write a brief information about the website, about what the website is about, a skincare product with that font I talked about just beneath here. Don't write another text. If there is an extra text in a mockup, don't add that your text. Don't add your watermark at all. We go to the next one. Here it is in the wrong place, and if you put it here, it's still in the wrong place. So we don't even have space to put it at the left or the right or the top. So don't even add it to this one at all. Don't add it, because if you add it to the top, to make a mess of the beauty of this mockup. The next one, this one, you can add it to this one because it can stay at the bottom side and match with the width of the alignment of this part at this part now. Okay, get to the next one. You can work here also. You can also work at the top side as you pad it, but make sure you push it to the edge a little, to the edge. Okay, even this 2 section, don't add it to this 2 section. It won't work. It just won't work because we already have text here, and look, judging from this, I'm having too many text and they are too distractive. So don't add it at all. This one, don't add it. Any element you have an extra text you added, don't add your mockup. Don't add your watermark. Okay, don't add your watermark because it will be confusing. What is what? This one, don't add it. It's not necessary. Very beautiful layout. You see what beautiful? Because these are called custom mockups. These are not mockups you see laptop and desktop everywhere. No, you see laptop and desktop few places in this mockup presentation. These are custom mockup. They are made from scratch. You actually need to prepare something that when a client look at it, they feel the vibes. They feel to do business with you. Not content they see, they feel stressed out. Okay, so you see how beautiful this is with the logo by the side and then the website part, and then we have the website in the background, and this is very beautiful. This doesn't need any watermark. Remove it. This doesn't need watermark. Imagine you add watermark to this one. It wouldn't even make sense because where will it stay? So don't add watermark where it's not necessary. Let's go forward. This doesn't need watermark. This doesn't need watermark. This doesn't need watermark, but you can still add it to the left side here. Just slightly to the left side here. Okay? You can add it to the left side. Though we have content, just add a little more content from this side. This doesn't need watermark at all. Don't even add. Don't even add. You can add this one to the left side of this area, even though it have content to the bottom side. And that is it. This is the designer of Fabulous Studios, designer of this particular website. He designed the So Fine website that we just reviewed. And this is his mock-up presentation. And that is it for our project today. And that is all we have for revision. If you have any question, you can drop in the comment section below. You can see the link to join the group beneath this particular video. You click on that, you join our group. It is free of charge. You don't get charged. You don't get bombarded with courses. Come and purchase a course or this or that. No, we don't do that in that group. It is totally free and free forever for every web designer who wish to improve. And by the way, once again, my name is Manuel from Kata Studios. Do have a wonderful day.